Okay, so welcome to Tangle Tuesday. It's Loretta West, Tangle teacher and soul collage facilitator and all-around art gal. And today's lesson, we're going to have a lot of fun. Um, you're going to need just a few tools. So let me zoom this out. Zoom, 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 zoom. Zoom it out a little bit. Oh, that's in. That's not very useful. Oh, come on. There we go. There we go. Okay, so you're gonna need some sort of paper. Now I'm using a Strathmore artist tile today that's 6 inches by 6 inches square. And the reason being is that I just find it easier for you to see one thing and easier on my appendages for another than to draw really, really tiny. But you could also use a Zentangle tile like this, or if you just have a sketchbook with some paper, that's good, like that. Or if you have paper, printer paper will also work today. Whatever you have that you can bring to the experience is just great. And you're going to need a pencil. I've got a General Pencil 2B today. And a Faber-Castell Pitt pen. And this is in size S, which is sort of like a 0.5, I think, 0.5 micron tip. A little bit thicker than an 0.1. But I like them because they're a fatter barrel for my hands. And oh, we have some, today we have acrylic paint on my nails. So there you go. I've been having fun. And a torchon or a blending stump for the graphite, but you don't have to have that. You could use your finger, you could use a Q-tip, makeup sponge, all sorts of things if you want to do that, if you want to add the graphite. For colors, I pulled out my trusty Pitt pens because I do love them. And I picked out some fall colors and you'll see why. So these are a marker, and they come in either a sharp tip or a a brush tip or a sharp tip. And this one is brush tip, the set I've had for years, like maybe 10 or 15 years. So it's worth it if you want to buy a really good set of markers that are color fast and light fast. Waterproof and light fast. These are good to get. They're expensive, but as I said, these are over 10 years old and I've only had to replace the red. All the other colors are still going strong. Okay. So I'm going to set up my space. So you want to set up your space so it's comfortable for you. Quite often we work on the flat. We put the stuff down there. Well, what that does is it makes us pitch forward at the hips and usually round our backs. And then we get stiff shoulders, stiff back, stiff neck, all sorts of stuff. So what I find is I've got this little riser. If I just do that and I put my, so I've got a little clipboard, little mini clipboard. I do that and put that on there. I can see now the sun's shining, so I'm just gonna have to adjust my blinds just a minute. Old sun. It's light. Here we go. Okay. And then I've got a wrist rest from my computer. Boop, that keeps everything from falling off the table, but it also gives me some support. So it's really important, and people don't really think about this. This is what I find in my classes. They don't think about their bodies when they're creating. They think about, what they're doing, what they're making, and all intense on what's in front of them instead of a combination of things, which is where's my body in space? How am I holding my hand, my shoulders, my neck, my back, my butt in the chair? How are things? So that you can continue doing this for many years. You want to make sure that you look after your body. So let's start. This one, I'm just going to take out my artist tile here. this one has a sort of theme to it. I was thinking, what are we going to do? And it's fall and everybody's doing leaves and I've already done, I've done a few wreaths, but then I saw on my door, one of our doors, I've got a fall swag. So if you're not familiar with the swag, it's got an attachment at the top and all the plant material sort of hangs down. It can be from natural plants or from dried flowers or plastic or whatever it is. So it's very pretty. And I thought, well, let's use that as a jumping off point for an idea. So you're going to start with, you can put a border if you want. If you want to do the 4 dots in a border, you're welcome. But I'm not going to do a border today. I'm going to start with my pencil and start with a loop. So in a sort of this shape. And then an S, a lazy S coming down in your paper. And then I'm putting my pencil away. So the first tangle we're going to do, and I've done it before many times, but in case you're new to it, is feather, fall by Carol. And I'm going to say your name is All, A-O-H-L, but it might be spelled differently, or pronounced differently, pardon me. But that's the first one I'm going to do. So we're going to utilize this line. And after I do this line, it reminded me of advice I was given when I had dried up creatively. And one of my artist friends famously said, just start with a line, Loretta. So start with a line. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're starting with a line and seeing where it goes and making it grow. So then I'm going to have some lines coming off. Let's get this come off there. And just go slowly and gently. This is not a race. And then I'm going to aura around this space. So like a seed shape. And you could leave it open like that. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm trying to be mindful of my dodgy shoulder today by not stressing it too much with too much fast motion. Apparently, according to the physio, shoulders hate fast motion. So being very careful with it. So I won't be doing much blacking in of things, but you're welcome to puddle in some black in the center of those seed shapes if you wish. And then I'm going to aura around that shape. And you could, make them as big as you want. You could just aura a lot or a little, whatever feels just right to you. Just be like Goldilocks and the 3 bears, decide, oh, I can do this. I'm going to try this out and see what's just right. continue on. So if you're wanting to add color, it's a good idea to think about, maybe your spaces that you want to leave a little more room to color things. Just a thought. Don't have to, but it might be useful. And also by creating space, oh, I forgot this line here. Creating space in our drawing, and you might notice that your lines get farther apart as you relax. It also helps to create space elsewhere. Maybe in your body, maybe in your mind. So next Monday is Thanksgiving Monday in Canada. So we're going to be out and about next week. And Danielle DeRome is going to come and guest teach. As long as the roads are good, we will be out and about. As long as we don't get early snow here, which can happen. To make the roads dicey. And I'm just going to go over this pencil line. And then go over just aura inside of it. And come back down here and do a wiggly, wiggly line. If you want to, you could do feather fall again down this way. I think I will do a number of things. I'm going to start with one of my little funny, I just sort of came up with a name today. It's sort of like a poppy, and I'm calling it petal poppy. And so you've got this sort of C shape and then a lesser C shape. And it's kind of like the Tangle Any Shoe, ENYSHOU, but a little different in that we have petal shapes. We've got some stamens coming down here. Now I'm going to put some lines in here, and you can black them in if you want. They're kind of stripy. And again, if you have another tangle, you think, oh, that's all right, but I want to do this. This is going to be better for me. Then feel free to include that tangle into this creation. Down here, I'm going to do some in a pod. So a little wiggly waggly line. Another wiggly waggly line. And then some round orb shapes. Remembering, how are you sitting? Are you sitting up straight to your work? Or are you looking from one side and leaning on one hip? That's what I do. So I'm only saying it because that's what I do. I'll lean on my left hip because I'm right-handed. So just so I can sort of see under the pen, you don't have to do that much effort. You can sit up straight and still see. I'm just, telling myself that. We do another one here, smaller one. When I was designing this, I was thinking about, what's in the garden right now. There's some flowers hanging on, like some mums, like these. There's even begonias that are still around because they're under the eaves and protected and actually doing really well right now because it's cool. So think about, this time of year where there's, at least in the northern hemisphere, where things are still blooming, but then there's a lot of stuff that is turned to seed.
Loretta?
Yeah.
Do you know of any tangles that are like mums? The mums flowers?
Yep, I do, and I'm going to include it. So
Woo!
hang
hang
tight.
Yay, I will. Thank you.
Okay. So then I was looking on Pinterest, and this is not a tangle, but it's cool. And so I thought I'd just include it. Okay. It's just a cool thing. I thought, yeah, let's do this thing. So I'm going to have it come over. Another thing you can do to the feather fall, I should have said that, is you can add these little tendrils if you want, coming out of the spaces. With this poddy thing, pod, P-O-D, not P-O-T-T-Y, is kind of neat. So I'll put it here. I have it coming out of here. So I'm just going to have two arcing lines. That's the stem. And then again, this sort of cup shape that we did over here. And another one the other way. And then this large seed shape, two C's, make a seed. And then on top of that, this frilly little shape with a, and then just some lines coming down. And this is on Pinterest, and it didn't have who did it, so I can't tell you. I don't know. but I just thought, oh, that's cool. I have to do that. That's a cool one. Maybe have another one coming down over here. Maybe put some leaves in. So you can add some leaves too. Let's make them expressive if you can with the slight S curve. You can put veining in them. And come another stem coming down here. So the one that is, let me show you a second here. The one that looks like a mum is Mumsy, Mumsy. And that's Sandy Steen Bartholomew who came up with that one. And so how you start that is pretty simple. You make this sort of four-lobed lumpy thing shape like that. Let me make it a little bigger for you. And then you, with the C shape, you connect these up. I got this coming in there by accident. Oh well. It can just be the way it is. So there, and you can make them as big as you want or as small. I'm just going to have some more leaves coming in here. Have it tuck around this Mumsy. Maybe one of these pods again. So it's good to repeat elements. We'll put them here and there. The same thing. This little frilly bit on the top. I think I'll have another one of my little petal poppies. And these poppy petals can overlap as well. They don't have to be individual. So if you're looking for, flowers, leaves, that kind of thing, so just Google nature tangles. You will see all sorts of them, or nature's entangles. There'll be lots of flowers, leaves, different ways of handling them. Lots of ideas. And you could make it really open like this, or you could stuff it in, stuff in a lot of elements. Show you something like that. So another option is to add some poke root, little berries. That's common on the East Coast. And maybe coming off here. A little upside down C shape, and the key is to try to make them look as round as, that didn't look round, but as round as you can. So they don't look like mushrooms, if you can. Some coming in here too. So you can, put them in and jostle them around where you think they would go and have them in behind and in front. Give it some dimension. I think I'll put another mumsy in somewhere. Just sort of deciding here. I'm thinking I want to put some more tendrils in there. So I'll put a mumsy right here. I'll just try to slide it in underneath everything. Some more poke root here, getting in behind. Do poke leaf as well. I'll show you what that is in a second if you're not familiar. I'm just gonna add a little bit of poke leaf, and then I think I'll be done the tangling portion. But I said you can make yours as wild and full as you want. There's a little bit of poke leaf down there. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what you can do as far as shading and then some coloring. So if you want to do a little shading, I've got my 2B pencil and this Mumsy. I could do a little shading in the center there, but I think I'll just show you with this shape, sort of leaf shape. So I'm going to do a little bit of shading on where it meets the stem. And then a little bit along the center line. Take the tortillon and just spread out that graphite. Same here. Oh, realize I'm missing a line here. From here to here. Whoops. Whoops. It's okay. Quickly recovery. Quick recovery. There's lots of other ones you look at. Bronx cheer would be a really good one on here. The little blackberry shape. So many things. Could add. Another one would be squid. That's the way it sounds, like the fish. Make a flower, a squiddy flower. Give it a little bit of depth with some shading. A long time ago, when we were living in Massachusetts, we go to this art gallery that was not too far away. And one time I saw these beautiful flower sketches that were just done in graphite with a tiny bit of watercolor added. And it was just, the effect was really quite amazing. Really understated. Very beautiful. So you don't have to color everything in if you don't want to. Want to add color at all, you don't have to add shading at all. This is your space. All yours, no one else's. You just have to put a little bit of graphite down. You don't have to press very hard with an HB or a 2B pencil because they're very soft. So the softer the pencil, the darker the lead, and the less you'll have to apply pressure. It's the harder pencils, so the ones with the H after it, the number and then the H, are much harder to manipulate as far as shading is concerned. Can be done, is done, but having a softer pencil really helps. I'm going to just shade the top of this pod, the seed pot thing on the bottom. I do enjoy shading. And if you haven't tried it, I would really recommend that you give it a try and see that it doesn't, see if it adds another dimension to your work. It can be hard at first because we tend to overshade, make things too dark or too light. Just keep practicing with it. You'll get better. We'll bring things to life. Let's go do a little shading here on this little dimple. Use berries. And you can also, if you like it really subtle shading, you can take your pencil and rub it on the ribs of the torchon or the blending stump. There's these little ridges that you can see. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, yep. You can just take your pencil and do that. And it's going to make it lighter. Just to see here. Make it lighter. I just did that down there. But it's a good way also to apply graphite. I just want to do a little blush of graphite. And then you can add a little splash of color if you want. So I've got, what do I have here? Can I read it? Gosh, it's small. Okay. Cadmium yellow is the number 107, pit pen. And orange glaze, number 113. So just utilize a little bit of orange here and there. A little bit on my petals here. Go down first with the yellow. And yellow is one of the things that can pick up ink, even if it's a very durable ink. For some reason, there's something in yellow that can really pick it up. So you have to be sort of careful there. And gonna add a little bit of blush of orange in there. It's a little bit of color. And then I will finish by just shading the rest of it. Let's do that for the next few minutes here. So around these little inopods, these little peas in the inopod are seeds. Some shading. I'm not really paying attention to like where the light's coming from and all that. But if you're certainly willing to, or you can certainly go there if you want to, be concerned about that. I'm just sort of giving it depth and not trying to be too exacting, just having fun. A little shading here in Mumsy. Makes me think of my mom, because that's what I call her, Mumsy. And you know, another thing you can do if you're not sure about shading, it's a really good way to practice, is after you've done your drawing work, your line work, all your tangling, make a photocopy of it, and then do the practice of shading or any coloring on the photocopy. And that way you'll learn and take the pressure off the learning. You can do that with coloring as well. Make a photocopy of the line drawing and work on that. And then utilize those lessons that you learned back to the original Zentangle, and with a little more confidence maybe. I really like these pod things. I gotta figure out what they're called. They're cool. Just show you one more flower that I kind of discovered in my travels this morning. And another way to do a poppy, I'll show you on my sketchbook here. But you might want to include it. And so it's pretty simple. You have a stem coming down or up, depending which way you want to face it. And then this funnel shape. These wiggy waggy kind of lines to form the flower. And then coming through some veining. It can be, joint lines. They don't have to be all separate. And then some stamens. And they can cross over and be silly and wiggly, like the Tangle pattern fescue. They don't have to be uniformly stated. Neat and kind of creepy, so maybe for Halloween, I want to include this one. And then, sort of like a clamshell, you're going to pick up this line on the other side and make a wavy-ish line in between these stamens coming down in an arc. So you have this partially opened poppy shape. I thought it was really neat. And of course you can go in here and do some shading to show that it's even. I'll give it more depth. So would it be darker towards the top here where it overlaps, and coming down is going to be lighter. Not really the time of year for poppies right now, but you never know. It depends where you live. Plants are tough. I always look to them when I think about resilience. Like my tomato plants. I have 2 tomato plants that are growing in gravel from seed, from tomatoes that had dropped their seeds last year. And they're producing. And I, give them a little bit of water now and again. But I don't baby them like I do my other tomatoes. So they're doing great. So just a thought, something you can try. We'll go back to the original drawing, and don't forget to, when you're finished, to put your chop, which is a little expression of your signature, and it could be your initials, your name, whatever you like, and mine is a little tiny turtle. Like that. Thank you very much for joining me. If you want, you can put thumbs up on this video if you like it. You can subscribe. You can also join the Facebook group Tangle Tuesday, that's 2 words, or tag me on Instagram under loretta.west.artist. And I hope to see what you've created. Thanks very much for coming.
Thank you so much.